Good morning, children. I am your Sangeeta ma'am. Children, today we will be starting with the third part of lesson number 2, First World War and Russian Revolution. We had already discussed about the First World War. Now, the last topic, that is the Russian or Bolshevik Revolution, we will start today. The Russian Bolshevik Revolution, that was in the year 1917. The Russian Revolution 1917 is considered as an important event in world history. So this event was considered very important as it changed many views. So let us see what is there. The Russians had been oppressed and suppressed by the Tsar of Russia. So the Russian people, they were given harsh treatment and suppressed by the Tsar of Russia. Suppressed means to forcibly put an end to something, that is suppressed. So they were suppressed by the Tsar of Russia. Now you will be thinking, what is Tsar? Now Tsar, this is a Russian word used for ruler or emperor. So the ruler or the emperor, that is the Tsar, they had given harsh treatment to Russians. The Russian Tsars who inherited the position were all dictators and enjoyed uncontrollable rule over people. So the Russian Tsars, the rulers, they had got position and so they were all dictators. Dictators means one who has obtained control by force. So the one who has obtained full control by force, that is without any willing of people, but still they have obtained control and enjoyed uncontrollable rule over people. So they were enjoying uncontrollable rule, that is unlimited rule over people. People did not have any right during this period. So people were not having any right because Tsar were keeping on oppressing them. The Tsars were so cruel. So cruel means they didn't have any feeling for anyone. They were uncaring, you can say, and pitiless. Pitiless means the one who is not having any heart, or the one who is not having any feeling for anyone, that is heartless. And pitiless on people, that if anyone demanded for any rights, he was tortured and suppressed and severely punished or condemned to be blamed, to be sent to the bone killing and dead cold of Siberia. So those who were demanding for their right, the person whosoever comes up with any demand relating to any right, they were tortured. Tortured means they were given different type of pain, suppressed, and they were severely punished, or they were blamed and they were sent to the bone chilling and dead cold of Siberia. Siberia is a place where it's very cold, so they were sent over there. So they didn't have any feeling for those people. This uncontrolled and oppressive tsardom became the reason for grief, poverty and suffering among people. So this way, this harsh treatment given by the tsars became the reason for grief, that is for pain, poverty because they were not having enough of food that time, because they were keeping on their own rules on people, and suffering among people. The Russian farmers, laborers and peasants were not getting enough income. So the Russian farmers, laborers as well as peasants. Peasants are the one who works on farm as farm laborer. They are called as peasants. They were not getting enough income. In spite of giving their 100% effort, they were not giving their proper income. So they became very poor. Under the leadership of Father Gapin, a large rally was taken out to the Tsar's residence. So under the leadership of Father Gapin was the leader of this rally, and he had taken a rally to Tsar's residence, to his place. Winter Palace, the place name is Winter Palace, that house name is, on 22nd January 1905 Sunday. These people were unarmed, while some had the Tsar's picture in hand with captions like "Long live the little white lord of Russia" written on it. So the people who took the rally, they were not having any arms with them, and they were having banner in their hand saying that "Long live the little white lord of Russia." The Tsar's army opened fire on these innocent people. So as soon as they saw the rally, the Tsar's army, they had fired on these faultless people, the one who is not having any fault, because they had simply just come with a banner and they were not having any arm with them, but still they were open fired, because of which thousands of people died, and the snow in the Petersburg where the time where Tsar's palace was situated turned red with blood. So, because of this open firing, what happened? The thousands of people, innocent people, they died, and this Petersburg, it's a place, it's a city in Russia. This place became fully red because they had killed so many people. This day is known as Bloody Sunday in history. So this day is called as Bloody Sunday. Around this time, a large number of Russians got provoked and became restless as the weakness of the Tsardom had become obvious when a small nation like Japan had defeated a massive nation like Russia in the Russia-Japan war. Now what's happening? It said that around this time a large number of Russians got provoked means they gave rise, and they became restless. They were not feeling satisfied as the weakness of the Tsardom had become obvious. So now they are feeling that now Tsars will become very weak when a small nation like Japan had defeated a massive nation like Russia. So it was very obvious that a small nation, when it had defeated Russia in a massive war, so it was by default understood that now Tsardom will not be there for long time. In order to pacify the angry Russians, an announcement to call for Duma Legislative Assembly, which had not been called for years, was made. So in order to pacify the angry Russians, pacify means in order to give a calm relief to Russians, they had called a legislative assembly known as Duma Legislative Assembly, which had not been called for years. For so many years they had not called, but just to make people relaxed, that they should feel that they are given importance, so it was called. Eventually, four such Duma were called. So slowly, four such Duma legislative assemblies were called. But before it can take steps to satisfy the citizens, it had been called off. So it had been called before it could take some steps to satisfy the citizens. It was cancelled. On 8th March 1917, the oppressed workers of Petrograd called for a strike. Now here on 8th March, that is year is 1917, the harsh treated workers of Petrograd. Now Petrograd, now children, that's the second largest Russian city. Petrograd is the name of the city, and this is the largest city in Russia. So the harsh treated workers called for a strike. The Tsar sent his troops means his army, to suppress this event. So Tsars had sent his army to stop this event, but the army refused to shoot these people. But what is happening? The Tsar's army he had sent, but they were not ready to shoot these people. As a result, the revolution began. So now the revolution started. After the fall of the Tsardom, the power fell into the hands of Kerensky, leader of Menshevik group. So now here, children, this Tsars, you can say Tsar's rule got ended because army refused to shoot people. So the revolution started, and after Tsardom's power fell, it went into the hands of Kerensky, leader of Menshevik group. Menshevik group means it's a minority group, and on its hand it went away. Except for Lenin, everyone in Russia was happy with the fall of the Tsar. So only Lenin was not happy. Now who is this Lenin? Lenin is a Russian lawyer. He was not happy with the fall of the Tsar. But Lenin believed in the importance of laborers as propagated by Karl Marx. So what is said that he was not happy that Tsardom has fallen down, but yes, he had given importance to laborers, while the Menshevik group believed in the importance of the middle class. So there were two groups. As we said that the power fell into the hands of Kerensky leader. So name of the person is Kerensky of Menshevik group. Okay. So it is said that Menshevik group people, they believed that middle class should be given more importance, whereas Lenin said that laborers should be given more importance. As a result, Lenin instigated means started, the Bolsheviks against Mensheviks, and in November 1917 declared the final revolution and got the reins in his hand. So as a result, Lenin had started Bolshevik revolution against Mensheviks. So he had started revolution against laborers. Sorry, he had started revolution against middle class. So he was from laborer side and the opposite part was middle class. In the year 1917, declared the final revolution and got the reins in his hand. So he had got powers in his hand. This came to be known as the Socialist Bolshevik Revolution. So this is known as Socialist Bolshevik Revolution because he had given importance to laborers. Thus, the 300 years of old Tsardom came to an end, and for the first time, Russia was without a Tsar. So for 300 years, Tsardom was there, and then for the first time Russia was without a Tsar, without a ruler. Now we have effects of effects for world peace. Now efforts for world peace. What is this efforts for world peace? What all things were done so that we can achieve world peace? The League of Nations. The horrors of the World War explained the absolute means entire necessity of the world peace to the nations of the world. So, how this World War had affected and people had understood that how world peace is necessary, and for this a need for the international organization was felt. So as we saw that each nation was fighting for some or the other thing, so they thought that there should be international organization. So it became necessary to think actively and immediately about world peace. The American President Woodrow Wilson had contributed substantially in the establishment of the League of Nations. So they had thought that they will have international organization so that it can establish world peace. Now here the American president, name of the American president is Woodrow Wilson. He had contributed really to a great extent for the establishment of League of Nations. League is friendly nations, okay? A group of nations, you can say. The 14 points suggested by Woodrow Wilson were presented during the Paris peace process on 10th January 1920. So it is said that he had presented 14 points. How many points were there? 14 points were there during the Paris peace process, and that was presented on 10th January 1920. And thus the League of Nations was formed. Now what were the aims or objectives for the formation of League of Nations? So what was the first thing? To maintain international peace and security, so that they can maintain peace and security internationally. That is not only in our country but in other countries also. Every nation to respect the unity and integrity of other nations. That every nation should respect the unity and wholeness of other nations. They should give importance to other nations also. To give up the policy of war, that is, we should not have war with other nations. To develop international relations, to have very good relation with international countries. To solve international disputes peacefully through negotiation or mediation. Now whenever it's very obvious that we will always have some dispute with some or the other topic. So what is the solution given over here is that we should have negotiation. Negotiation means to have a talk or to have a debate, that what should be done and what should not be done. Or mediation. Mediation is a talk to resolve the difference of opinion. So the same thing it is there, that whenever we have some difference of opinion, we need to solve it. If any nation ignores the League of Nations or its mediations, it would be declared as a rebel nation. So if they are not accepting the negotiations or mediations presented, then the nation who is not accepting will be called as rebel nation. Rebel means opposing nation. The League of Nations established for world peace did not manage to keep a control over imperialist policies of the superpowers, and in 1939 the Second World War began. So this League of Nations was not able to establish world peace, and they couldn't manage the supporting, imperialist means supporting policies of the superpowers. And in 1939, the World War, that is Second World War, began. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can just put forward. So we end up with our second chapter over here. I hope you have understood. Next meeting we will be starting with the short questions worksheet. Till then, take care. Goodbye.